Jesus was there for me when my father had an accident in 1992. We live on a ranch, and he was working on a windmill we have in front of our house. And he fell from the top of the windmill. He hadn't secured himself right to the top. So he fell 20 feet and he died instantly because of the impact on his head. It cracked his skull from the base of his ear up to the front of his forehead, and his eyes were put out of alignment. And my mom was up there with him. She climbed down really quickly, and she began to see what was going on because, it wasn't a pretty sight. I was about 3 years old at the time, and my sister was about 7, and she remembers feeling something. Later on, she describes it as feeling almost like the spirit of death being in that place. And my mom had had a dream a few nights before that my dad had died, and she had cried out to God, and she said, "Lord, not for me, but for the children," because she grew up in a family where her parents were divorced, so she knew what it was like not to have a father. So she prayed, "God, please spare my husband for the sake of my children." And my sister prayed for him, my mother prayed for him, and she kept confessing what the Bible says, that the elect will live and not die to declare the works of the Lord. And so he tells his story. He wasn't living right. He wasn't in the place that he should have been, and he tells that he was being dragged down this dark tunnel, and he couldn't break free, and he could hear like people screaming. He describes as weeping and gnashing of teeth. So it's pretty obvious what was happening. And then about 25 minutes later, when they finally got him to the hospital, he revived in the hospital, and he recalls just that fear of knowing, hey, I wasn't going where I needed to be, but God gave me that second chance. And so throughout the rehabilitation process, through all the struggles that we've had because of physically him being, different, being disabled, Jesus has been there for me, modeling what a father needs to be. And so my mother in her prayer was saying, "God, don't let my children not have a father." But I have been trained and raised to realize that God is my father, and that he fills all the inadequacies that my physical father has. And even more than that, he loves me unconditionally. And I know that even though we may go through things, we may suffer hardships or setbacks, even physically, that Jesus is always going to be there for me.